Good evening, one and all. On behalf of the Bombay Bar Association, I welcome all our dignitaries, participants, honorable judges to today's function, by which we will inaugurate our advocacy training course. Without any further ado, may I request our President, Mr. Nitin Thakkar, to welcome the Honorable Chief Justice and our dignitaries and give his opening address. Mr. Thakkar.
Honorable the Chief Justice, Shri Dipankar Datta, other judges of this Honorable Court, Justice Audrey Campbell Buffett, Judge, Hong Kong High Court, the Learned Additional Solicitor General of India, the Learned Advocate General of Maharashtra, Mr. Brendan Siva, Chairman, International Advocacy Training Council, the trainers from BBA and IATC, the participants of the inaugural batch, Dr. Birendra Saraf, Vice President of Bombay Bar Association, and other members of the Standing Committee, the presidents and other office bearers of Advocates Association of Western India, Bombay Incorporated Law Society, and members of Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa, the senior advocates and other members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all at this function for the inauguration of the advocacy training course by my Lord the Chief Justice. My Lord, I express our deep sense of gratitude for having agreed to inaugurate this course. It will inspire and encourage both the trainers and trainees. International Advocacy Training Council is a non-profit organization of which Mr. Brendan Siva, who is from Malaysia, is the chairman. The council consists of senior and experienced barrister and judges from various countries, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, Hong Kong, England, South Africa, to name a few. These members have a long and strong history and commitment to advocacy training and standard. They train lawyers of various countries without charging any fees. Bombay Bar Association is fortunate, being the first bar association in India to collaborate with IATC for this inaugural function. They had visited India at their own expense in 2019 and conducted a preliminary session with us and had planned to train our members in art of advocacy more extensively. However, we could not progress further in terms of fixing any suitable dates. Thereafter, pandemic set in and all of us faced severe challenges. Last year, a member of our bar revived the project and asked them to conduct the training online, and this was found to be practical. We invited our members who, overcoming challenges, willingly sacrificed their time and energy to learn this unique method to become trainers. The first batch of trainers was trained in November 21. IATC certified those trained by them to be qualified trainers, and I welcome all the trainers for today's inaugural function. I am very happy to share that once we decided to start this training course, we sent emails to our young members and invited them to apply. We had very limited number of seats, 44 in the first batch. The admission to the course was on the basis of first come, first serve. We received 86 applications and thereafter we had to stop taking further applications. It was beyond our expectations. And I must thank and place on record the hard work put in by Akash Ribelo, Namrata Shah, two of our trainers, and Vishal Kanade for organizing this course meticulously. I welcome all the trainees who have agreed to participate. I also extend greetings to our judges who have joined today online. Sirs, your presence today in large numbers by itself is sufficient to encourage us. Similarly, the presence of Additional Solicitor General, Advocate General, the President and Office Bearers of various associations and members of Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa will inspire our trainers and trainees to continue their quest for improving their skills. After attending a session last year, I regretted that I was born too soon Otherwise, I would have an advantage of being trained along with this batch. When I joined bar, I did not have any training like the one this course is going to impart. One thing I learned from seniors that we are students forever. In profession or in life, each day, each matter, each event will teach us something. We have to learn from all our experiences. And that reminds me of Henry Ford, who said, anyone who stops learning is old, whether 20 or 80, and anyone who keeps learning stays young. Bombay Bar Association has been organizing various programs for continuous education by arranging speeches from eminent speakers like sitting or retired judges of the Supreme Court and High Court. We are also conducting workshops on specific subjects where we invite 2 or 3 speakers. Our sitting judges have always responded to our invitation and have addressed the participants at such workshops. We have also conducted series of lectures titled Struggle to Success, where our senior members have shared their experiences and inspired our younger members. The advocacy training course is also a part of our initiative to provide our younger members an opportunity to sharpen their skill and continue to learn. So our learning must continue. And I believe continuous learning is the minimum requirement of success in any field. And as Mahatma Gandhi said, and I quote, live as if you were to die tomorrow and learn as if you were to live forever, unquote. I wish the trainers and trainees all the very best. Thank you. May I now request our standing committee member to welcome my Lord the Chief Justice by presenting him a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, my Lord.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thakkar. May I now request Ms. Namrata Shah, one of our coordinators and trainers, to address the audience and give a brief introduction of the advocacy training program. Ms. Namrata Shah.
Thank you. Good evening, honorable judges, and warm welcome to everyone who's logged in today. As the junior most amongst the trainers, I like to imagine that I can relate to most of the participants who will be attending this course. And so this is something I want to share with my fellow junior colleagues, which is to say that sometimes even the best lawyers get nervous. Sometimes they make mistakes, and sometimes they even accidentally show up for hearings with the cat filter on. It's normal to be nervous, and it's perfectly okay to feel that way. What I've learned over time and from interacting with lawyers from different parts of the world is that in many places, it's common for litigation lawyers to have speech coaches. It's common for them to practice arguments in advance, and it's also common for them to invite other lawyers to come and provide feedback and help them improve their arguments before they finally present them in a court. Even in our courts, when we see counsels arguing with what looks like effortless eloquence, is actually the result of hours and hours of hard preparation. And so advocacy is very much a skill that can be learned. It's just unfortunate that at least when I was in law school, it's not something that was formally taught to us. And so 6 years ago, when my friend Shan, who is one of our international trainers from Malaysia and who's also logged in today, told me about this formal advocacy training course, what I really felt was I felt left out. I wanted to be part of it, and I wanted someone to teach me how to get over my own discomfort with oral advocacy. We learn a lot by standing in court and observing counsels argue, and we learn from listening to judges who also take on the burden of teaching us when we're in court. But confidence doesn't work that way. Confidence comes from actually doing things and from knowing and understanding why we say and do the things we do in court. And so what we hope and the way we've designed this course is to teach you that. So the course follows a very structured 6-step method, which is called the Hon'ble method, which the IATC has found to be most effective over the several years that they've been running these trainings all over the world. What we do in the course is we mimic an actual courtroom. So in this case, it's going to be a virtual courtroom. And we give the students fictional cases on which they are asked to prepare to lead evidence in chief conduct cross-examination, and make final arguments. Each classroom has 4 students and 2 trainers. And so for this session, we're going to have 11 such classrooms. So when a student's turn comes to perform their part, they're given a few minutes to speak. And while they're speaking, the trainer takes detailed notes of what they're saying. When the student is done, the trainer will pick one teaching point, just one suggestion of something that the student can do differently. And they'll phrase this point in a short and memorable way. Then the trainer will repeat back to the student what the student has said, and then they explain the reason why they're telling the student to do it differently. Finally, the trainer will provide a practical remedy or a practical tool in which the student can implement to change what they're doing and to improve on what they're doing. And then the trainer will demonstrate how they would do it. So when the student performs again, they can do so keeping this advice in mind. I should also point out that it's equally challenging for the trainers because they have to keep track of what the student is saying and then think very quickly on their feet to pick up a teaching point and articulate it in a short and memorable way. So that's just a brief overview of the course and what we'll be doing over the next 3 sessions. But I want to end by saying that when we started trying to organize this course, I was actually very pleasantly surprised to discover just how many practicing lawyers and senior members of our bar are very willing to go out of their way to teach and to be so generous with their mentorship and their time and their knowledge. All we needed was a platform to make this knowledge accessible to people. And I'm very grateful to Brendan and Shan and the IATC for giving us a framework and the support to build a course for our jurisdiction. And now that we have this opportunity, which so many of us regret not having earlier on in our careers, I hope that you will make the most of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Namrata. May I now request Mr. Brendan Siva, the chairman of IATC, to address our audience and gathering today. Brendan.
Thank you, Vishal. A very good evening to the Honorable Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court, judges of the Bombay High Court, President of the Bar, members of the Bar Association. Together with me from the IATC is the Right Honorable Madam Justice Audrey Campbell Moffat from the Court of First Instance of Hong Kong, and 3 other trainers, Shanmuga Kanasingam, David Matthews, and Chetan Jethwani. I would like to first congratulate the 19 members of the Bombay Bar who have qualified as advocacy trainers when we did this teacher training course in November last year. As experienced advocates practicing at the Bombay High Court, you volunteered to be the pioneer batch of trainers who have come forward to help train younger advocates on advocacy skills. And you should all be commended and praised for this. We spent 3 full days with you, and we are satisfied that you qualify and are the right people to be in this first batch. I also wish to thank the Bombay Bar Association for starting this program. Speaking very candidly, when I became chairman of the IATC, we have approached many other bars across the world, and the Bombay Bar is the first to embrace this initiative wholeheartedly when we met them in 2019. At the IATC, we firmly believe that every bar organization has a duty and in fact must assist its younger members to be better and more effective advocates. All the IATC member countries, Australia, Hong Kong, England and Wales, Singapore, Malaysia, Scotland, Ireland, and South Africa. We have been running these courses for a long, long time, and we welcome you and we commend you for the commitment that the Bombay Bar Association has shown to this initiative. To the Chief Justice and the Judiciary of the Bombay High Court, thank you very much for officiating this event. In all the common law jurisdictions that I mentioned earlier, the Judiciary have supported advocacy training programs of the bar. As the ultimate consumer of advocacy, the Judiciary has a shared interest, a vested interest in improving the standards of advocacy of the bar. Better advocates certainly assist judges in their work. And it's also, of course, far more pleasant to have good advocates appearing before judges of the Bombay High Court than those who are not effective or prepared. Moving forward, it is my sincere hope that some judges especially those who enjoyed a long career at the bar before they were elevated to the bench, would also consider joining this advocacy training program as trainers. In most of our IATC countries, senior judges are trainers. Your experience, both as an advocate and then now as a judge, would be extremely invaluable to the training process. With that in mind, can I invite Justice Audrey Campbell-Moffat to come in at this stage just to say a few words about this point. Audrey?
Sorry, I was on mute for some reason. Can I add to that? Because like Brendan, I came into this some 20 years ago when I was still a junior practitioner at the bar, and took advantage, as so many people are going to do now, of just having some tips from those who were much more experienced than me. And I've now been sitting for about 5 years in the High Court. But what I can say is this, that until you sit, and the Chief Justice will know this, and the other judges that are with us today, until you sit, you don't realize what in fact you did wrong for 20 years. Because suddenly what you need from an advocate and what allows you to do your job well is something slightly different than what you thought the judge wanted when you were actually the advocate. So I want to add to what Brendan says. It's really important that, and fantastic that you are also keen to do this, and that members of the profession who are currently advocates will come in and be prepared occasionally to make a fool of themselves to try and help younger advocates. But it's all the more important that the members of the bench, if they please will come and help out too, because you are the people who will say, actually, you're teaching this, but that's not what I want when I come in and I want to hear an injunction. I want something that's more precise, much clearer, directly to the point, saves time, all of those sorts of things. So you will add value to the advocacy course. If any of you, please, would love to come in and join. I have to say, the other added value is this: it brings the profession together. We tend to divide off. We tend to create barriers around ourselves because of our position and how difficult sometimes we feel it is to still communicate with those we have left. It's really important to break down those barriers, to have a conversation, to let the various member advocates know what the problems are that we are facing and how we want them addressed. But it also stops the junior member of the bar being terrified of coming into court, not realizing that the person on the bench is a human being, and that they're going to have good days and bad days, and they're going to have a way of wanting to do things and getting them to respond to that. So the human interaction is a huge upside, not least because we are a totally supportive organization. We don't come in and tell people what they have to do or that they're not good enough or anything else. All we say is, here you are, we've got a course, we think it works, use it, but if you need us at any time, we're there for you. And that's whether it's Hong Kong or Malaysia or Singapore or Scotland or South Africa. And it's fascinating to realize, and the Chief Justice will know this because he meets other Chief Justices, to realize we're all the same. We have the same problems. We are a creature that multiplies around the world, the lawyer and the advocate. And you can transfer those skills from elsewhere. And by transferring those skills and watching others, you pick up things that make your own jurisdiction better. So I do hope that the interest in the advocacy training increases and includes members of the bench. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Audrey. I end by saying thank you again, and I'm proud to be here at the inauguration by the Chief Justice of this course. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Justice Audrey and Brendan. May I now request the Honorable the Chief Justice, Justice Datta, to address our members and inaugurate this training program. My Lord.
My dear friends, on the bench of the Bombay High Court, I'm told Justice Amjad Syed, the senior administrative judge, has joined. Mr. Ashutosh Kumbhakoni, the Advocate General for Maharashtra, Mr. Anil Singh, the Additional Solicitor General, Madam Justice Audrey Campbell Moffett, Judge, Hong Kong High Court, Mr. Brendan Naveen Siva, Chairman of the International Advocacy Training Council, Mr. Nitin Thakkar, President, Bombay Bar Association, along with other office bearers, esteemed senior advocates and learned members of the bar, the 44 junior members of the bar who have been selected to participate in the training program, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening one and all. It is an honor for me to be associated with the inaugural function of the advocacy training course and to deliver the inaugural address. I'm delighted to learn that the Bombay Bar Association, in collaboration with the International Advocacy Training Council, is in the process of organizing a training program for these 44 junior lawyers in the first phase. What I gather is that the council has been providing teacher training on a non-profit basis to bar associations and councils all over the world to assist the bars in their efforts to improve the quality of advocacy, especially amongst the younger members of the bar. I'm certain the training session will be of immense help to these 44 lawyers to learn the art and craft of advocacy and equip them to evolve as staff of performance in the future. I'm also hopeful that after successful training, these lawyers will contribute in fair measure to ensure that this great and prestigious institution continues to bask in its pristine glory. When Mr. Thakkar came to my chamber in mid-December last year to invite me for this function, none imagined that the third wave of the pandemic would lash Mumbai and its adjoining regions. Under compulsion, we have reverted to hearings through the virtual platform and forced even to reduce the working hours till 28 January 2022. From mid-December till this date, 10 honorable judges have tested positive. Some have recovered and others are undergoing treatment. Apart from judges, several members of the registry and members of the staff tested positive. When a judge is ill, there's a whole lot of people to look after him. But when it comes to the members of the staff, they have to fend for themselves. It is majorly because of this reason that the administrative committee, in consultation with the bar, had to take such a decision. I'm conscious of the inconveniences and difficulties this decision has brought about, but I had no other alternative. However, I read some encouraging news in the papers this morning. The Commissioner of the Bombay Municipal Corporation is on record saying that the third wave is on the decline in the city. If indeed that be so, and things limp back to normalcy soon, we may revert to physical hearings once again. I take this opportunity to reach out to every stakeholder and request them to trust the administrative committee, to be patient, and to join in our prayers so that we can make a new beginning, possibly in the next week. Mr. Thakkar has requested me to guide, inspire, and motivate the budding lawyers who are likely to participate in the training program. This address is exclusively for them. For this purpose, I had to rewind and revisit the past when I was a junior lawyer. In a few moments, I intend to share my ideas, my thoughts, my experiences with them as to how one can get a firm foothold in the legal profession. Since I am an old school fellow, some of you could perceive my ideas to be hackneyed. But trust me, despite the advancements in all fields since I joined the profession, these are still relevant. Even if they do not help you, it will not cause you any harm. My wife told me that, look here, while you address the lawyers of the younger generation, you must not lose track of the contemporary happenings in the world. So I thought, how should I begin? You know, I'm a passionate driver and I take the help of GPS for the purpose of reaching my destination. So I thought, let me take the aid of GPS. How does it have any relevance here? For me, the GPS for a lawyer in his formative years is G stands for grit, P stands for patience, and S stands for sacrifice. I request all these budding lawyers to remember this. You will always be using GPS. So for your legal profession, keep in mind this GPS of grit, patience, and sacrifice. You need to have courage, determination, and resolve to stand tall in all adverse situations. That is when you have to be gritty. You need to have boundless patience. You do not taste success overnight. The nights, in fact, are unusually long. And you need to put in very hard work. You have to sacrifice your hobbies, your passions, and even social life. This is the phase of struggle that many of us have experienced. If we have been successful, there is no reason why you should not be as successful as we are. It is very important that during the formative years, you wholeheartedly involve yourself in practice and detachment. Mind you, if you do so, success will not stay at a distance. By success, I do not mean money, fame, or reputation. What I mean is a mental satisfaction, the inner satisfaction that you would derive once you realize that justice to the cause has been rendered by the court with your able assistance. It does not matter whether you win or lose, for you are not supposed to identify with your client. While you continue to taste this success day after day, month after month, money, fame, and reputation will automatically be yours. Further, in your formative years, do not look around to find out who among your peers are your competitors. Do not attempt to compete with them. If you desire to compete and your desire is so keen, compete with yourself. See yourself as your only competitor. Try to outperform yourself by being better than what you were the day before. In this way, without any rancor, you will not only improve yourself, but excel in the legal profession. Greed, selfishness, jealousy, anger, etc. have to be kept aside. The importance of learning before you start earning cannot be overemphasized. The latter, that is earning, is present in the former, that is learning. Hence, once you learn these skills associated with advocacy, it will not take much time for you to earn. I, however, add a caveat here. Merely being busy in learning may not help you in the long run. Be productive in whatever you do. For instance, when you are having some free time, look for senior advocates practicing in the court and see how they place their cases before the court, how they respond to queries posed to them by the judges, how they persuade the court to rule in their favor, even though the judges may have been disinclined initially to even hear them for long. Merely seeing and hearing may not help unless you return home, rewind, and form an opinion as to which of those seniors you would like to emulate in future. While on your journey, you would have to be grounded, persevere despite challenges and setbacks, and be sincere in what you do. If you are focused and prepare yourself to the best of your ability, making a mark in the profession could only be a matter of time. One of the first lessons that I received during my nascent days as a lawyer is that although all judges are knowledgeable and intelligent, all of them do not have the same level of knowledge and intelligence. Judges who are more knowledgeable and more intelligent than their colleagues tend to proceed fast and try to complete their board by the end of the day. Others prefer to hear the parties patiently and then deliver their opinions. It is like, as in cricketing parlance, a one-day international and a 5-day test match. Before the former set of judges who prefer to conduct proceedings quickly, you have to be really agile and waste no time to come to the point. Whereas you have the liberty to take time to address and build up your case before the latter set. Knowing the psychology of judges is also important from another point of view. Although judges are supposed not to show predilection by reason of their mindset discernible in court, they get to be branded as pro-establishment, pro-capital, pro-labor, pro-landlord, pro-tenant judges, etc. You need to know if at all any judge is such a pro and argue your case in a manner bearing in mind which side your client is on. While you cross the formative years and gain the confidence to argue on your own, avoid citing precedents before the court at the very inception and argue on first principles. For this, you may have to read the statute over and over again, even though it may seem to be tedious at times. It will benefit you in the long run. I'm sure that this would be a lesson in the training session, and the participants trained how to read a statute, where to pause, how to understand the punctuation marks, the object of the statute, the mischief it seeks to remedy, which part should be read in a high pitch for emphasis, etc. Do not also forget the ethics of the profession and the moral code of conduct to be followed. You're a member of the noble profession, and that is how you should appear to be in court. Take good care of your health, or else you may not last the distance to complete the long journey. Also, be someone who is fair to the court and can be relied upon. Do not ever attempt to mislead the court. If you find that a judge is hearing a lawyer without looking into the records, it can reasonably be inferred that the judge relies on the lawyer, so much so that the records are not needed to be looked into. That is what each lawyer must strive for. That is, to win the trust and faith of the judge. Finally, be generous once you attain a status in society. Do as much pro bono work as possible. There is dearth of well-meaning people in society now. Be always respectful and grateful to your parents as well as to your mentors. Remember, without their blessings, you may not march quite far ahead. I end by assuring you all that adherence to these tips may not go awry. Be positive and always remind yourself that you can. Once again, I thank the Bombay Bar Association for giving me this opportunity to address the lawyers. I wish the training program a grand success and hope that in its footsteps, more such programs would follow to enable the lawyers to keep the flag of this court flying. Take care, stay blessed, stay sound. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, my lord. I would now like to take this opportunity to firstly express our heartfelt gratitude to His Lordship Justice Datta for agreeing to inaugurate today's function. My lords, your speech will in itself act as a veritable GPS for all our participants and members. My lord has taken his precious time from his busy schedule for being with us today. We can't thank my lords enough. I would also like to thank all the honorable judges of the Bombay High Court for being with us here today. It means a lot to us. May I also express our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Ashutosh Kumbhakoni, the Advocate General, Mr. Anil Singh, the Additional Solicitor General, office bearers of the Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa, Advocates Association of Western India, and BILS who are here with us. This wouldn't have been possible without the support and encouragement of Brendan and Shan, who have coordinated with us and guided us throughout all this process. We can't thank them enough. Last and not the least, may I take this opportunity to thank all our participants and trainers who are here with us and whose presence in such large numbers has made our endeavor even better. May I take this opportunity to seek my lord's permission to say that the function has come to an end. With this, may I request all the participants to remain in this session, participants and trainers. There will be a short Q&A session. I thank you all for being here with us today. Good evening, everyone. There was a glitch. I think one of the co-hosts from the Bombay High Court terminal, when they left, they ended the meeting because they were co-host. I think that is what happened. I'll just take a minute to make some of our trainers co-host for today. Just give me a second. Brendan, you're a co-host now. You can unmute. You can unmute yourself.
Sure. Let me check the participants list.
Yeah, I'm just making Shan also co-host.
So quite a few people here. Or is that the whole list?
I think that's the entirety of it. Let me make Farhan and others also co-host so that they can also speak.
Oh yeah, I forgot the participants have to be on as well. Sorry.
Yeah, participants are right. Namrata is here. She'll be a co-host. So can I just request Akash to to address all the participants. As far as participants are concerned, if you have any questions, may I request you to send your queries via chat box, and they will be addressed one by one. So Akash can begin, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, do we have Farhan as well?
Yes, Farhan is here. I have made him a co-host, so he can also.
Yeah, I'm here, Akash.
Yeah, perfect. So Farhan, the idea was perhaps we can just speak to the participants about what exactly is expected of them, and then perhaps answer their questions.
Sure.
Yeah. So just to start with, I'd like to thank everyone, of course, for coming here, both trainers and participants. And the one thing I do want to tell the participants is that the success of this course depends on how well you guys are prepared. So a sincere request from all of us as trainers. Of course, we want to help you. We are here to help you, and we can only help you if you are familiar with the material, you do the reading, you're familiar with the two cases that we have selected, and you prepare your cross-examination and arguments on that basis. And as we take the course forward, based on your preparation, we of course will give you tips and pointers along the way. Farhan, do you want to take over and say a few things?
Yeah, thanks, Akash. So everybody in law college would have participated in moot courts. So basically, the program which is designed is something which follows from a moot court. The difference being that in a moot court, you present before a judge, and then the judge adjudicates as to who is the winner, who is not successful. Here, the way that the course is designed is there are three aspects. One is arguments, one is examination in chief, and the third one is cross-examination. So when you are given your case material, which you are expected to study, you will be required to prepare either on the basis of the plaintiff or the defendant. If it's arguments, you'll have to prepare for the plaintiff or for the defendant, and the same goes for examination in chief and also cross-examination. And in this training course that we will conduct, we will sort of observe how you are performing, how you are conducting yourself, and then give you tips on what we think that you could do better. So that's the format that we will be following during the weekend, this Saturday and over the next weekend. So that's why it's very important what Akash said, that you need to come prepared, because if you are not prepared, then we can't help you. Okay, so Akash, how do we go ahead? Because
yes, so just to take off on that preparation, obviously there are going to be, as we have pointed out in the course schedule, I assume all of you guys have gone through it by now. As Farhan pointed out, really we'll be working on 4 skills throughout the program. The first being case analysis, which will be there on the first day to help you out, really on how to read a problem, assess what are the good facts, what are the bad facts, what are the questions of law involved. So really, in a sense, your preparation. The second set of skills will be examination in chief. I realize it's something that we in Bombay don't use a lot on a regular basis. And in India, ever since affidavits of evidence have started to go in. But it's something that nevertheless is an important skill, because in certain circumstances, courts do request you to conduct examination in chief. It's relevant for re-examination. So those are skills where you have to be prepared to ask questions, both for chief and cross. So you guys will, of course, have to prepare your questions down and the subject matter from that perspective. And last, of course, being final arguments. The case that we have, I think, is a vacation of an injunction in a notice of motion. So that's how you guys should approach it. If any of the participants have any questions, perhaps now is the time to put them in the chat box, or just put your video on and put your hand up, either one of them, and then perhaps we can clear any doubts that you all may have. sorry, the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Farhan, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the chat box, and the first question is that what is the criteria to get selected to be a trainee? Now, there was a notice which was put out by the Bombay Bar, and if I'm correct, Akash, and somebody can correct me, the requirement was, I think, you should have graduated between 2017 and 2021. So presently, the way that the course is designed is that we are looking at people who have graduated during 2017-2021 video, and it's on a first come first serve basis. So those people who would have responded to the notice, submitted the application, made payment of the fees, etc., would have qualified and would be a part of the initial or the first batch of students to participate in this program. The second question, which is asked by Mohammad Qureshi, is how will the reading material be provided to us? Akash, will you take it from here? Because I think the reading material should have already been provided, right?
So really speaking, all the participants who have signed up and who have confirmed their attendance and are within the first 44, which is really how we've done it, should have already got the reading material. If any of you who have received the confirmation email have not got it, please just email us on the same address, which is advocacytraining.bba@gmail.com. And we'll get the material to you. Correct. So sorry, Roshan Disa really asks how to prepare examination in chief. So I'll just give you a quick primer on that. Really, Roshan, the difference. So when you are doing examination in chief, really the major rule that you have to know is that you cannot ask leading questions in examination in chief. And really the difference is this, that a leading question is one that suggests an answer. So you are suggesting an answer to the witness, which you want him to give as the answer. So for example, would it be correct to say that the sky is blue is a leading question, while what color is the sky is not a leading question. And the latter of those is a question you put in examination in chief. So a good way to prepare is study your subject matter, see what the points are from your subject matter, and then make questions to get the answers you want to reach the place and the point that you want to make. So that's the broad way I suggest preparing it.
Okay.
Just one thing, Akash, if I may butt in, there are a bunch of questions that appear to be from people who are not participants, and perhaps we can address that in the sense that we've got the capacity right now to have 44 participants, but we do contemplate these courses continuing, and we will, hope to offer this again. So there will be opportunities in future, in all likelihood, that people can sign up for it. So just keep a track of it. And as and when it'll of course be put up on the BBA board as well as circulated to all members. So that should be available to everyone in future.
Yeah, and also to add to what Shyam has said, one of the questions which says that I am a third year student. So to answer that, unfortunately, the way that this program is designed, at present, we are training people who have graduated. So if you're still in college, at present, this course is not for you. Let's wait till you graduate, and then maybe you can enroll in some of the future courses that we would conduct.
I think I don't see any more questions really from students who are in the training session. So perhaps we can, the trainees in that sense can please log out. The trainers, please remain, because I think Brendan wants to do a short briefing with us on what's expected of us in the days going forward in terms of preparation, etc. As a trainer. So requesting all the students and trainees, thank you so much for logging in today.
Akash, we can use a different link actually, because I think it'll be a little difficult if we can't log people out.
Okay, sorry, 1 second. Vishal is also calling me. Just give me half a second.
Yeah, Vishal just called to suggest that we use another link for the trainers. And so if I can just request the trainers, Kashyap, if you can just send a Zoom or WebEx link, whichever.
Zoom better.
Yeah, Zoom. Okay, so we'll just Kashyap, if you can just quickly send us the Zoom link, we can all log off from here. And the trainers, I'm sorry, can I request you to log in on Zoom? I'll just share the link with you.
Akash, somebody has asked about the agenda, so I think you just need to repeat the email
agenda.
address.
Yes.
Right.
Namrata, can you take that?
Yeah, the agenda has been shared on email actually in the Google Drive link. If you've received that, it's been shared. There's a complete agenda with the entire schedule of what we're going to be doing when. If you haven't received it, just drop us an email and we'll send it to you once more.
But broadly speaking, it's going to be the 22nd, 29th, and 30th. We're going to do case analysis on the 22nd, and then the other skills on the 29th and 30th. Correct, Namrata?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
So I'll end this meeting, and Namrata will circulate a link for the trainers in a bit on Zoom. There will be a separate Zoom link. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. Have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.